and it's my pleasure to welcome to the stage David Wyatt, Jeff Trask and Paul Evans from the CAER Heritage Project. Yeah, I'll sit down. You sit down. I'll sit here.
Right.
If you sit that one. You did that deliberately, didn't you? I'll come over here, shall I? Oh, that was my fault for sitting here in the first place. So, what did it feel like? What did it feel like winning the competition? And you're going to have to pass the mic between you, so who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
Still gobsmacked, really. Just to win against that many amazing projects, really just quite remarkable. It's kind of led to lots of interesting things already, but not least there was prize money, so that was great. And that prize money's already gone back out and being ploughed out into community. So we're going to use the prize money to seed community projects, which I'm really, really excited about as well. So it was just bloody amazing, really.
Can I just encourage you to use the mics, just because that some people need the induction loop. But,
am I not mic'd up?
No. Oh, you are? Oh, you are?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were all... Forgive me. Honestly, you know what you're doing and I don't. Never mind. So can you just tell us about what your roles were on the project, the three of you?
I'm, if you like, my role is a community engagement coordinator for the School of History, Archaeology and Religion. I'm a medieval historian. I've done a bit of archaeology, but my role is on the community engagement side. And I'm kind of, manage the project along with my colleague Ollie, who's the archaeologist who couldn't come today. So that's my role.
My role is it's Jeff. I live in Ely and Caira, where the Hillfoot is based. CAER Heritage has given a lot of people a lot of opportunities to get involved in the dig. Some people are unemployed, and it's given them a chance to build new skills and relate with other people, which we all really enjoy.
Thank you.
I'm lead artist in the project. I've been involved on a number of different projects as the project's rolled out. Initially, there was a project which we called the Tribal Logo Project, where we developed some eco-graffiti on the hill, kind of land art scale eco-graffiti. I also worked on a mural development project with some young people from North Ely Youth Centre, and also on a heritage trail around the local area, and really trying to kind of activate that trail with various artworks.
Can I just say as well, I mean, what's great is that we kind of do everything together on this project, so that's why we're all here. Even at the last minute, we had someone had to drop out, unfortunately, because they had a poorly kid. But, it's great. I'm really, really glad that Jeff's here to represent the community. Everything that we've done, we've tried to co-produce, and that's reflected, hopefully, by the fact you've got three of us, I'm afraid.
So Jeff, we've got some pictures on the... we didn't change this one, that was a bit bad. But tell us a little bit about the place where this project happened. I think I've got a slide for that, haven't I?
Yeah.
So where are we talking about? Because a lot of us, we don't know the Cardiff area very well. So tell us a bit about the place. Do you want the mic? Yeah.
The place is situated Ely and Caira. It's in South Glamorgan. It's a 3,000-year-old Iron Age hill fort.
Wow.
A lot of people, it's like a little small community from the past and a community from the present, helping fetch the past forward. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds great. And do people know about the hill fort? I mean, was it something that everyone who lived there knew about?
No, not really. Not many people knew I was on the doorstep until CAER Heritage got involved and opened a lot of people's eyes.
Brilliant. And what kind of people have been getting involved in the CAER Heritage project?
Local people, unemployed people especially, because Ely is quite big and there's quite a lot of unemployed people, and they're bored, and CAER Heritage has given the opportunity to get involved and help out, which keeps a lot of people off the street, especially young kids as well.
Fantastic.
If I can just add, I mean, it's two big social housing estates in the west of Cardiff, and they were both built after the First and Second World War, really, weren't they, Jeff?
Yeah.
The trouble was, obviously, during the 70s and 80s, a lot of the industry that serviced those communities left. There was a big paper mill, there was a brewery, and then since then it's really been blighted by, as Jeff's been flagging up, issues of unemployment and related issues around education. So obviously that's been a big driver for us in the project, to think about how we use assets of the community, the great positive stuff, the great community spirit, talent, and amazing heritage, to try and address some of those issues.
Great. And so...
Here it is.
Yeah, here it is. Tell me what's in this picture. You can tell me about...
Okay, so this is CAER Heritage. So, I mean, like I said, one of the amazing things about the estates is that they've got a brilliant heritage. On the last map you might have spotted, if you were looking closely, there was a Roman villa there underneath the playing field of the school. There's a medieval village, deserted medieval village, and there's also this incredible prehistoric site up on the, and if any of you've driven down from the M4 down to the bay from Cardiff, you'll have gone round the link road, you can see it going round there. It snakes around, everyone wonders why. Well, it's going around there because it's avoiding an enormous Iron Age hill fort. And as Jeff was saying, a lot of people didn't really realise that, it was there, even local people, because it's covered in trees. But it's basically, 2,500, 3,000 years old. But actually, we found a much older story this year, digging again. We found Neolithic stuff there, so it goes back 6,000 years. And this point about power centres past and present, obviously, Ely and CAER now are seen as kind of perhaps marginal communities. They're on the edge of Cardiff. There's a lot of unemployment. The power resides down the bay, you can see in the background there. And the narrative we're sort of saying is, well, actually, this is the most important monument in Cardiff. There's not even a signpost to it. This was once the power centre. This was the place where people lived in 6,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And that's a narrative that's really, I think, powerful for the local community, hopefully, because this is an important place and these are important communities. And their involvement in this heritage, I think, is a way that we can, if you like, think about redressing some of those issues.
So, oh wow!
Oh, there you go. So this is a snazzy lidar image of the. So this gives you a sense of the scale. So that's that hill I was just showing you. Without the trees, you can see these enormous monumental earthworks, great big ditches and banks. Which obviously, this is a huge Iron Age hill fort that was built by thousands and thousands of people. And the thinking on Iron Age hill forts is they're not just about defence, they're about bringing communities together and writing in a landscape the identity of those communities. And again, that's a very interesting narrative. And this is the jewel in the crown of the project, but it's not just about the dig, and we'll be telling you more about that if you come to our session as well later. We've been involved in a whole range of projects, including the art that Paul's been doing, and history projects. I don't know if you want to add anything here, Paul, about
talk
your
a little bit maybe about the ideas stuff and how that's been so important. That would be great.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting being an artist involved in a project like this, because in a way it goes contrary to some of my kind of other roles, if you like, where I kind of want to be seen as I want to be as visible as possible, really. In this instance, I think you're a catalyst, really. In that kind of, using a kind of chemical metaphor, really, because you kind of disappear in it to a degree. But that's kind of what you want, really.
Maybe that's a bit about what co-production's like, that actually the dynamics between all of the parties involved, that actually no one person is like the most important, you're all working collectively.
I think so. It's a collective identity, really, that you're building, I mean, if we look at the top left here, this is the tribal logo project that I mentioned earlier. Now, there were some really wonderful things about this. We were working with 3 different schools. But what I found really wonderful about that was when we basically we used a gridding up technique. We designed these logos in workshop situations with the young people, and then we gridded them up and expanded them in size. Now, what was really cool about that was the way that the kids kind of self-organised around the edges of the grid. I wasn't expecting that at all, but they really got involved in it physically, and I think that they were running around and kind of building this thing. And I think it worked on a lot of different levels, really. In a kind of, there's a sort of kinesthetics in it. The way that when they're running around, and they really enjoyed it. And there was a real sense of satisfaction about making a mark in the landscape.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, and it's placing a mark on the hill fort and getting some ownership of it. There have been some problems with antisocial behaviour out there. There's a churchyard that's quite badly vandalised. So these are eco-graffiti as well. So these are biodegradable, these symbols. And no, they didn't get kicked in. That was really interesting. So And this issue of co-production, we've really followed the lead of, it's a shame our community partner from Action CAER couldn't be here today, because I mean, they've taught us really how to do co-production from a research perspective, using the principles of everybody coming to the table with something positive, thinking about the assets of the community, keeping things sustained, and just that face-to-face contact, which is so important. I mean, you know, and I love coming down to Ealing and popped down the other week, and we saw each other in the library and had a chat about what we were going to do. And it's kind of, that takes a long time to build those face-to-face partnerships. Should we talk about this?
Shall I put all of them up? Yeah. Wow, this is amazing. See,
this
is all about the people.
If you just stop there.
Shall I go back again?
Yeah, if you go back.
I'm not quite sure why I'm controlling this, actually.
if you can go back one more. If you can go back one more.
One more.
So basically,
okay,
when we started in 2011, the first thing we want, this project isn't driven by REF, it was driven by objectives which are about addressing the community issues. Funnily enough, we're going to get a good REF impact case study out of it because we had the right, if you like, ethos at the start.
And just tell us the REF, Research Excellence
Framework. Research Excellence Framework, which is an assessment exercise for universities that we all have to jump to the tune to some extent. The partners at the start were us as a school in the history of archaeology, Action CAER Ely, the local community development agency, as I said, Dave couldn't be here, residents like Jeff, and the local high school. Those are the people, when we first thrashed out the objectives for the project, and they were very simple objectives. What can we do with this amazing heritage to address and give new life opportunities to the people of this community? And how can we address some of the really bad stereotypes and negative images of Ely and CAER that perpetuate Cardiff and is a big problem, isn't it, Jeff, for a lot of people locally? So those are the objectives. That's what drove the project. And we each brought people to the table, so you can click that. So obviously we brought loads of like heritage sector people, you know, the National Museum, the archives, and people like that. ACE brought amazing groups of community organisations, Cardiff Council. They have a brilliant time bank system whereby they pay volunteers in alternative currency. It's a brilliant project. So they brought all that to the table. The schools obviously brought other schools, and indeed Youth Centre, we're working with kids excluded from schools, so we get contacts from them. And the local residents obviously brought other local residents and other groups that were and formed into a group of their own, their friends of CAER. And then from there, as the project expands and evolves organically, we kind of roll with it, you know, and what's happening and what's interesting. Other, if you like, elements within the university got involved. So if you want to click again, hopefully that'll show you. So we had social sciences getting involved because they were interested in the social sciences side. School of Journalism started to get involved. Centre for Lifelong Learning helped us with running free courses in the community around a range of issues, not just archaeology. And then last summer, other universities started getting involved, so we kind of like the Connected Communities programme came, and we've got legacy projects going on with Aberdeen, Sheffield especially, where we've got a good link, haven't we, Jeff, with Winkerbank, another, if you like, ONH Hillfoot in a very similar community. And then you get this network, and then, funnily enough, without us kind of controlling or knowing it, things start to kind of happen where all these people start working with each other. So if you click again, it should hopefully...
That was the slide I saw.
And that, to me, is what co-production is. And that is really... And that allows us, on actually not huge amounts of money, to do a shitload of stuff, basically, which is, I think, really important. And where we have this way of kind of all working together. And if, you know, left-wing, you call it socialism. If you're right-wing, you call it big society.
Brilliant. Oh, well, can you join me in thanking Dave and his colleagues about the project? And thank you very much. That's brilliant. So, I don't know about you, but I was getting so into hearing about the project. I can't stop hearing about it. And you'll be really pleased to know that there is a workshop later where you can hear more about the CAER Heritage Project. So if that's captured your imagination and you want to find out more and you want to engage with these lovely gentlemen again, then pop along to that workshop. And I'm going to hand over to Paul for the next part of our plenary.